Our big story tonight at 10, the murder of a tri-state Marine. It happened just days before Christmas 2017. David Basham gunned down outside his home in Evansville, and that shooting triggered a tsunami of uncertainty for his family. After 6 weeks in the hospital, Basham died from his injuries. But his murder remains a mystery, and investigators say a lack of evidence is the reason this case remains unsolved.
Lauren Leslie sat down with Basham's friends and family and has tonight's cold case you will only see on 44 News.
He was always my hero growing up to whenever he went to Iraq, which, at the time I didn't realize how serious really that was.
2004, just months into the Iraq War. Soldiers were on the front lines defending the U.S. from radical extremists. In California, David Basham had just joined a brotherhood.
According to him, the Marines are the best of the best. That's right. The jarheads, and that described him. He was tough as nails, as all could get out. He would defend anybody to the core. He was a Marine through and through.
By September of 2004, more than 1,000 soldiers had died in Iraq. But serving overseas was something deep in Basham's heart.
He was proud of his country, and he was proud of where he was from, and this was something that he knew. Like I said, he was born to do that. He would say that. I was born to be a Marine. He knew that he would be the best.
He served one tour. Back in the States, Basham returned to Camp Pendleton in California. But his experiences overseas followed him, and with his support system hundreds of miles away, a tough decision had to be made.
He is a family guy, and I know he missed all of us and didn't want to deal with the things that he was dealing with alone, mentally, and so he came back home.
He was always Uncle David to Paige, who was in elementary school when she was surprised unexpectedly.
It was one of the best moments of my life because I didn't know he was coming.
Uncle David showed up at Harper Elementary.
I was so ecstatic because it was in front of all my friends, and it was really cool, and I just remember being so overjoyed, and he was overjoyed as well. He was so happy.
Basham moved back to the area in 2006. 1 year later, his firstborn and the spitting image of him. In 2015, Basham would welcome a son.
He loved those kids so much. I think, personally, it definitely changed him when he became a father.
Dads often get to teach their little ones life lessons, even things like how to cast a line.
I know they would have been out on the water every second they could have. That would have been something he would have thoroughly enjoyed.
But David would not get the chance to do that. So many opportunities taken away in a split-second decision.
When you think about, gosh, he's not here. He's not, not for myself, but for them.
On December 16th, 2017, about a half hour to midnight, police records show a single gunshot was fired at 222 East Missouri Street. It's where Basham was living at the time in Evansville. His sister received the shocking news from a familiar voice.
It was probably 5:30 in the morning. One of my surgeons called me and said, "Shelley, I think I have your brother here in the ICU."
Shelley works for a group of trauma surgeons in Evansville. By the time she got that call, those surgeons had been working on her brother for hours trying to save his life.
He coded when he got to the ER. They took him to surgery. One of our vascular surgeons repaired the severed artery. But he had lost so much blood.
Basham had been shot in the groin, his femoral artery.
If you don't know you can bleed out from that within 5 minutes, lose all of your blood. They tell us from his training that he attempted to pack it, hold it, do something to stop the bleeding himself.
For the next 5 weeks, family and friends were by his bedside every day.
1 minute, we were all there with David wondering about him, and the next minute we were like, who shot him?
What was he doing? Who was he talking to? Where was he going? Who's he hanging out with?
As they waited, wondering if David would pull through, police were trying to track down who was responsible.
He made friends with everybody that he was around, so he might be running around with one person and get introduced to another one, and start running around with them. And I just think that progressively, in some aspects of his life, there were some people that might not have been the best influence for him.
Basham knew someone was coming for him. He told his neighbor to call 911 before the shooting ever happened. But whoever pulled the trigger has never been arrested.
I think that's one of the worst parts, is we don't know what happened. We don't know, why did he die? Why are we going through what we're going through? And to know that somebody's out there that knows what happened, probably multiple people.
6 weeks after being shot, Basham died from his brain being deprived of oxygen. It's known as an anoxic brain injury, something that is irreversible and has left a lifetime of pain for his loved ones who just want answers and justice for David.
Sometimes I'm in denial and I think it's just been a while. David's away, he's still here. I think that's my biggest thing. Been in denial for about 2 years now until it hits me. And I honestly don't think that'll ever go away. You know, I'm always, you know, when something good happens in my life, like, it's sad because the first thing I want to do is, of course, call my mom, but I want to call David. When I passed my huge exam that I studied for, I bawled into tears because I realized I couldn't tell him. And I'm afraid that that's going to happen every single time that I have something big going